When you come here and you actually see it, your immediate thoughts are about the people, not about the politics. What happened up there is just so difficult to comprehend. But in the days after this tragedy, there was such outrage at governments and authorities. It became a political storm that those in power struggled to respond to.
We want justice! We want justice! We want justice!
People vented their anger outside Kensington Town Hall.
Because we have the capability to feel.
A visit to the Grenfell site by Theresa May saw her forced to leave under police guard. At Prime Minister's questions, Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn linked the tragedy with spending cuts.
What the tragedy of Grenfell Tower has exposed is the disastrous effects of austerity.
And speaking at Glastonbury, Shadow Chancellor John McDonnell used even stronger terms.
Those families, those individuals, 79 so far, and there'll be more, were murdered by political decisions that were taken over recent decades.
And I can't remember a major national tragedy that has been politicised in such an overt way. I think using the terms like murder is completely reckless at a time like this. The key thing is that we try and ascertain the facts of what happened and how this tragedy occurred to ensure it can never be repeated. And as soon as you introduce emotive phrases or emotive accusations or emotive allegations of that nature, then the discourse becomes politicised. The whole debate around the tragedy becomes politicised, and it makes it much, much harder to get to the truth.
Some argue the political language that was used was wrong and helped to ramp up the vitriol in an unhelpful way. But for others, it was entirely justified.
That's what an opposition party is for. It's to challenge the government and to ask the right questions. And I think people around here would say, thank goodness, there's somebody in politics who's speaking for us.
Pilgrim Tucker had helped Grenfell Tower residents campaign for building improvements in previous years and returned to help after the tragedy.
I mean, I went to meetings before the fire and I've been to meetings since the fire, but attended by ordinary residents with no involvement in politics, and they are saying very, very political things about land in London and property ownership in London and their sense of place. Had we campaigned harder, would we have prevented this?
Fire safety campaigners say they were trying to draw attention to certain issues long before what happened at Grenfell Tower, and say it's no one political party, but the whole system that's failed.
Well, it's easy to say, you've got an inquiry, let's wait for that. We already know two very clear things. Had the people there been protected by sprinklers, nobody would have died. People don't die in homes protected by sprinklers. The second thing is the outrage that the building regulations have not been updated in way over a decade. They should be done year in, year out. Generally, people in house fires die in 1s, 2s or 3s, which doesn't make a political statement. So the political parties haven't really needed to do anything about it. They weren't prepared for this. They weren't prepared for 70 or more people to die at once in this flaming disaster.
The public inquiry, which will address some of those issues, has already faced calls for its newly appointed chair to resign. And that was a view echoed by the Labour MP for Kensington, Emma Vardy.
You would call on him, would you, to stand down?
I don't think he should do it. I don't think there'll be any credibility. And some people are saying that they won't cooperate with it, so it's not going to work.
I give you my word that I will look into this matter for the very best of my ability.
I think the attacks on the chair have to cease. I think the attacks on the inquiry have to cease. We have to let it do its job. It actually makes it harder to get to the facts and get to the truth, and that's the most important thing there.
Some say it was unavoidable that this tragedy became political. But will the politics help get to the truth?